Today, while we have the 750 apart, we had refinished one of the panels, put new decals on. John Pothia made us some new decals. While I have the whole bike in pieces, and this is something, let me just make some room here. This is something I've always encouraged other people to do. This paint is now a year old. What happens to brand new paint? It's relatively soft, and it has a, if you looked at it under a microscope, it's kind of like a little bit of a wavy deal. It never really hardens up for, in my estimation, probably a year. Maybe it's not true, maybe it isn't. Who knows if I know, but it's not the point. The point is this works. Now what I did when I bought my R1, the paint on it was fine. I mean, most people would just love that paint. I took 2500 sandpaper, wet sand with soapy water, get everything flat, and then buff it out. Now, is that overkill? It isn't when you park your motorcycle next to somebody else's, or your model plane, or your guitar, and it stands out in a crowd. So to me, now I just want to show, these parts were buffed out once already, and they're in reasonably nice shape. There's no problem with them. But the point is, once we assemble a bike, it'd be kind of stupid to put this all back together without going over it again, especially considering we're at the part of the year where the weather is not really great. So what I like to do is, while other projects in the shop are drying, and we got a lot of other projects, including Luciano's and Vlad's and whatever, I wanted to demonstrate how this works. So let's pretend this is your 10-year-old car, and boy, it's got a nice shine on it. Yeah. And let's pretend that you had to take the bike apart. In the case of like a Ducati, you got to change the belts, or you're just doing maintenance or replacing the air filter. Well, you have this part in your hand. Once this is mounted on the bike, oh my God, to get under there, unless you're an acrobat or something. But while it's like this, and let me show, before we even do this, let's show the finish up close. Yeah, most people would be happy with that. But now that it's got a bunch of little nicks and dings and everything in it, and there's no reason at this point in time that I can see, there's no reason not to make it perfect. This goes relatively quickly, by the way, and I wanted to just show it in real time. I know Glenn has done something similar to this to his bike, because it looks like he has anyway. The paint looked spectacular. Now, when you do this, you could do this to paint that's a week old, a day. Actually, you could probably do it when it's a day or two old. I'm not prone to want to do that stuff until the paint's about a week old. Now, I've heard other people say, yeah, using different methods, different material. Well, the reason you can't really do it using the method I do is because I put so much clear on. I put way more clear. Most guys that paint, or the factories, you think the clear was worth $1,000 a gallon the way they're so cheap with it. Well, I like to have enough clear on there that I can do this as many times as I want. Now, what's going to happen, even just doing it by hand, you're going to see this right away, and this does not take forever to do this, because once this part is already buffed out, this is relatively easy. We're not dealing with any orange peel. But always remember, as paint gets older, it gets harder. As it gets harder, it's way nicer. The shine it'll hold. The reason a diamond holds the shine so nice, it's hard. If a diamond was made out of peanut butter, it wouldn't shine at all. So, just to show that part of it. Now, Glenn brought over that Adams stuff, and some of the stuff is really good. Again, there's every kind of toothpaste, silver polish. I've tried to use them all. They all seem to work. I want to show this up close now. You can see here's the shiny stuff. How quick that 2500 grit with soapy water dulls it out. Now the difference is this is not flat. On a microscopic level, this is a little wavy. This is flat. And we got the same old, there's nothing special about this. In fact, I'm getting to the end of this. I'm gonna have to do the thing I hate most, go down and buy another $100 worth of this stuff. Don't need that much. But this is the product I've been using. Glenn's stuff certainly seemed like it was real good, but I think the reality is all of these polishes are good. Make sure this is in there. Now you might hear this buffer skipping a beat because it's at the end of its service life. And yes, you can go buy some brushes. I just threw 3 of them away yesterday because basically I wear them out. But the result is, when I'm done with it, when I'm done with this part, it's going to look really nice. Now the one thing I don't ever want to do is just take this off and hold it in place. It gets the paint too hot, especially if the paint is new. I find it's better to just keep moving it around. And again, if I put a couple hours in here on a relatively crappy day, this kind of work, I get a lot of satisfaction knowing when I put the bike back together, and probably in a week or so I'll be putting it all back together. To do this part would have been really difficult, a real pain in the neck. You're laying out in a cold garage where it's probably 35 degrees or 40 degrees, it's damp. Down in the cellar here, and today we have an exceptional day. Karen's making cookies, so I'm just loving the fact that the house smells like cookies. Again, no matter what polish you use, the only thing I really wouldn't use is red rubbing compound. It's just too aggressive. It takes too much paint off, especially if you have a situation where you have factory paint that's got one coat of clear, which is the case with some manufacturers. You really don't have a lot of paint. But like I said, I put on enough clear that I can do this probably 50 times. Or if I scratch it, it's very easy to get that scratch out. When there's a little bit of clear, right away you're into the colored paint, and it's difficult. Now there's one final step. This has polish and wax on it. Now what's funny, Glenn has the expensive version of this. I have the one that's $15. This one was probably $30. Harbor Freight to the rescue. Wow. Now what's different about this side of it and this side, I can feel the difference. It may not be really obvious, but I can go back over this 2 or 3 times, as many times as I want. Again, because I have plenty of clear on the part. I don't want to get up and do an edge. I don't want to have that edge, or right here where there's an edge, burn up an edge. This guy's ready to go. Time for another trip to Harbor Freight. Last time I was there, I bought 3 of them. Because Lauren had burned one of mine out. I bought 3 of them. I says, the heck with this. So now, even with, and let me get one thing here. You think he'd have this all prepared. This was the material I wanted to bring out. This is time for a new buffer. And we do wear them out. They last about a year under battle conditions. Now what cleaner wax is really, in its own way, a polish. And it does take a little bit of the paint off, but it does polish real nice too. And boy, as opposed to laying out in a cold garage, to be in here Now, and again, I go back and forth as many times as necessary until I'm satisfied. Now, I'm hard to satisfy, I understand that, but now if I could only show this, and I'm not sure I can, because we have, on a microscopic level, this is not really as flat as the part that we just did. It's almost as shiny, but if you rub your hand on it, and what I always do with Vlad, when Vlad is here, I give him his part and I say, rub it up on your cheek. I can clearly feel a difference where it's been just freshly polished. A fresh polish on that, but it makes all the difference in the world. When Glenn comes over, Glenn's gonna come over one day next week maybe, and we'll put this whole bike back together. But that's a good little thing if you have a bike apart this time of year. It's good to polish the parts while they're in your hand, not on the bike.